Hello, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. I know this is a really hard time, and you all have been in my prayers, and I'm thinking of you, and I wish I could come help and be with you all, but we're all kind of stuck where we are right now, aren't we? So I know I'm experiencing a lot of challenges of just getting people involved. So there's a lot of little aspects to this. The first one I kind of want to hit on is the difference between extroverts and introverts. We all know kind of the basics of what that is, but introverts, like they said, have trained for this. We're good. We don't really need to be around a whole bunch of people. It's not in us to have to be around people and congregating and spending time, but that's in a lot of people. And a lot of our residents that are introverts are okay right now. Maybe they're a little bit bored, they want to talk to you every now and then, but the extroverts, I feel like, are losing it a little bit, especially those with dementia. They want to be busy, they want to do stuff, and we're just like, just stay home. You can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. And to them, that's really, really challenging to stay in their home. If you're an extrovert watching this, you know how you feel right now. We're all kind of freaked out a little bit, and that goes for our residents too. I know that most of our residents with dementia have been really worked up, and I've just spent a lot of time trying to calm them down, putting on calming music, getting them engaged during the day with different things, and I'm legit running around pulling out random blocks and getting them to sort them by color. But that's like 5 minutes, maybe, so this is constant. And it isn't just one person. One person is not going to be able to provide all the activities that your households needs, as well as the independent living residents need. So I'm going to go over a lot of different ideas. Just keep rolling with me. If they don't work for you, just keep going. Don't even worry about that. But I'm just going to give you a lot of ideas today on things I've seen, I've done, and that TIPA's organization has told us works and what doesn't work for them. So one of the biggest things is, I know that you all have like a TV channel there. Is there a way to talk to somebody in IT to see, is there a way to live stream exercise classes, games, that type of thing? So there is capabilities, because we've kind of done it. Daily we have exercise classes that are live streamed from the exercise room, and the instructor just kind of goes over the same routine that they always do or whatever. Our Parkinson's patients have like a special Parkinson's exercise program, so they're keeping that going with the live streaming of the channel on our TV channel at our nursing home. So with that, doing yoga, maybe there's like one instructor in the morning and then there's an evening class after lunch. One is more upbeat, getting your heart going, and then one's more laid back, calm down. And this is kind of, you can tweak it to whatever works for your facility. So another thing is the Birdsong tablet. We did a presentation there on the Birdsong tablet, but right now, because of COVID-19, they've offered the website for free. I'll send you the link to that, but it's birdsongtablet.com. You create a free account, and then from there, there's a whole bunch of options on that, okay? So on the Birdsong tablet, there's exercise programs, there's seated exercise programs. So, just giving that to your residents and saying, do it, is not going to work. It's getting it in a group format. That's what the live streaming provides. Can you do a Zoom call? I have Zoom, and I do Zoom with a lot of family members. You can do a 40-minute free Zoom call and do an exercise program where you've invited 7 residents from independent living, and really identify who needs this, who needs that extra care, the extra check-ins, and that's the people that you're going to try to provide these Zoom little calls for, or parties or whatever. So I'm going to go over some other stuff. So some of the games on the Birdsong tablet, like trivia games, they're really, really fun for our residents to do. So, even if you did a Zoom meeting, you're doing the trivia game in the background, so you're going to need 2 computers to do this, and you're doing the trivia, but in a group setting. You know, I know that it's difficult and it's hard to think like that's just so much, but those extroverts need it. A lot of our residents are declining rapidly because of the lack of socialization. They're not seeing anybody. They're not doing anything all day. They don't even know what day it is or what time it is for some of them. So most of the residents that we have with dementia, because of COVID and the stress of COVID, it looks like the next stage of their dementia. And it's really scary. This is not just you or not just my facility. This is like nationwide. I was on a leading age call, and that's one of the biggest things that most facilities are talking about. I didn't even know they had dementia. Now they look like they're in the second stage of it. That's very typical right now because of the stress and the different things going on in their environment. They're not socializing, exercising, going out like they usually do, and most importantly, their routine is messed up. So can you create a routine right now in the middle of COVID? Okay, that's the question that you have to ask yourself and that your facility. Are they going to help you do this? You know, are there different people that aren't working as much that could come in and help you provide some of this engagement with Zoom or whatever? Okay, so the trivia games on a Zoom call, that's a possibility. I had a Zoom call that was a virtual happy hour. Okay, there was like 18 of us on this Zoom call through another organization, and we all had drinks at home. We were just talking, having fun. There was even multiple like chat rooms set up, so you could leave one and bounce to the other one. Now let's take this way out there, okay? One of the things on the Birdsong tablet are travel programs. There's virtual tours of botanical gardens, Disneyland, the moon, okay? There's all these different virtual tour type things that you can do on the Birdsong tablet. So could you create a weekly destination, okay? This week we're going to travel to Italy, okay? Maybe one night at home, fix some Italian food, take a picture of it, and send it to so-and-so. Then we'll put it on the TV screen. Then we'll have a travel program that's on Zoom at 2 o'clock where we look at foods of Italy. Okay? It's all up to you, but I'm just kind of throwing some stuff out at you to think about. I've even taken it as far as, you know, okay, this day we traveled to Italy and we're doing foods. The next day we're listening to their music. The next day, ask your independent living residents to join in. Has anybody traveled to Italy? Can you tell me what happened on that? And so then you're gaining people into those Zoom calls that at first said, I'm not doing that. I don't like technology. I don't touch computers. Well, what's your option right now to socialize? That's it, you know, so giving them the opportunity to see that, and then think about it a little bit and see what your residents are interested in, and maybe make it groups. If you know these 5 guys that you know from independent living all were in the military, okay? There's military options on the Birdsong tablet. So maybe, you know, one day some guy's giving a story of when he was in combat, maybe not, maybe you don't want to talk about that, you know, or just connecting them on the Birdsong tablet. There's options for like the space program, gardens. So if you know that you have a whole bunch of ladies from independent living that love botanical gardens or loves gardening, maybe you all do a tour together of a botanical garden on a Zoom call. And so you would set Zoom up and then show your other computer in front of that camera, and you're all watching it together. And then when it's over, you're talking about things in the video. Okay, it's an option. Because there's all different types of things, so it's really thinking kind of like outside the box. So another thing is a virtual scavenger hunt. I did this with some of our memory support group members that don't live here. They live off campus. And so what I did is I told them, like, I sent them a Zoom invite. We're going to have a scavenger hunt. Bring your own beer, bring your own beverage. Don't get, you know, tipsy beforehand, because when you get on the Zoom call, you're going to have a list of things that you're going to ask them to find in their home. Tell them, do not run. This is not a race. This is just for fun. But you'll still have those competitive ones that want to run and get whatever it is and run back, and you don't want falls in independent living because then you'll be in trouble. But simple things like a comb, a spoon, a cup, different things that they're going to find around their home. And then whoever comes back first, tally up points. And I just gave out like a Dollar Tree little gift bag of things that I gathered at the Dollar Tree, and I left it on their doorstep. So, that's an option if you want to do that. Other people have done virtual bingo. So you can create bingo cards at home. You can leave it in their mailbox. Just tell them to just like do B 1 through 9 and then I 11 through, you get the drift. However you want to do the numbers is how you can do it. And then they have bingo cards at home. Do a Zoom call, okay? You can do 40 minutes for free. If you want to do an hour, it's like $14.99 a month for a year or something like that for every month. And maybe your facility can provide you with that. I haven't. I've just been doing 40 minutes because I feel like that's enough. I feel like 40 minutes is enough, like in the mornings for a few to connect. And then that evening I'm connecting with another few, So you can do the virtual bingo game. I even asked our residents, like, do you want to do a pizza night? Where at home you're having pizza, or we get delivery of pizza and you have your beverage and we do bingo. Okay, it's an option. I already said happy hour. Another thing when you're thinking about assisted living or memory care and the people in independent living, okay, it's how to connect them in a way that you're not pushing it on them, but you're connecting them in a different type of way. So maybe there's 2 guys that were friends back in the day from independent living and then memory care. Can you get some of your independent living residents to color pictures, send cards, write letters, almost like a pen pal program? Even if they're just sending like handwritten letters to say, I'm thinking about you, I hope you're doing well. That's giving your independent living residents something to do. But then once the people in memory care or assisted living receive those, they're going to want to do something back. So a lot of times when you put out coloring sheets, people are like, well, why do I have a coloring sheet? What am I coloring for? I don't want to color. So giving them a reason to color. What are you going to do with a coloring sheet? That's the bottom line. If they know that you're going to send it to someone that just to check in on, to send well wishes, they'll do it versus just saying color. That's the biggest difference, So giving them a reason to color that picture. Well, so-and-so sent you a card, and keep that card visible. Sometimes I do a little note like above the paper or the coloring sheet, and I say on the card, can you color this for so-and-so that sent you this? Can you color this for your daughter? I'm going to send it to her. For the residents that that are married couples but are separated right now, I got one of our residents with dementia to color his wife, who lives in independent living, an Easter picture, and then we put it in her mailbox. So that's like an easy, just get them engaged type thing, but there's a reason behind it. They don't want to just be doing something just to do it for no real good reason, So giving them a reason to do those pen pals, and the coloring sheets, sorting, this is all stuff I said in the last video, but it's like constant. It's aggravating some days. You're like, I just did this. We just did this. But when you really take a step back, okay, the resident with dementia doesn't always remember they just did it, okay? They don't remember yesterday that they did it. I have a lady cleaning out her closet almost every day because that's just a busy activity that she can do. Asking people, do you have any clothes you want to donate or give away during this time? If it's somebody with dementia, they're probably not going to give anything away, which I'm not either because I'm a woman. But you can try, let's give some things to a charity. Leave on your front porch an item or a few items in a bag that we're going to give away. Now, you don't really want to have to do extra work right now. I know, because you're already doing enough. I'm like exhausted, okay? But at the end of the day, just keep the stuff in a room until this is over. It's engaging them with busy activities at home that you're making them think, you know, they have like something super busy to do, but at the end of the day, they really don't. Okay. I got one of our residents, one of our staff members who just had a little baby girl to donate her baby clothes to our residents in memory care. I have them in little baskets with a note that says, "Can you help us fold the baby clothes?" Once you get them folding baby clothes, it's a whole nother activity. Okay? Because then they're talking about babies. We have the baby dolls where they're dressing them, they're changing their clothes. But the baby clothes are different. You know, it's sweet, they're beautiful, especially the little girl clothes, because they're all like frilly little skirts attached and little booties and stuff like that. So our ladies love to fold the baby's clothes. And it's thinking about how you can incorporate them in everyday activities. Can they set a table with gloves on? You know, can they roll up silverware that you may not use or you may use later? You know, put some gloves on them. I have a little lady that does that almost every day. I put gloves on her, she sits with her napkin and her silverware, and she rolls them up for dinner time. So that's just kind of like a busy activity. But going back, okay, to the pen pals and having independent living residents write notes, for staff, okay? Get some just like thank you cards and ask them to fill them out for staff. You can print cards for free from Microsoft Word. If you look at the templates under Microsoft Word, you can find some of those and just print those out and say, hey, can you just leave a thank you note? And, you know, this might be a 5-minute thing, but the impact it's making on their life is very, very beneficial. Okay, so one of the things that I'm really big about is moments of joy. So that's what TIPA teaches a lot of. All of us need moments of joy throughout our day. If it's nothing but as simple as a cup of coffee when we get up in the morning, that's your moment of joy. Most food is a moment of joy for me because that's just what I am. I'm a foodie. So I like food and it brings me joy. Music brings me joy. Reading scripture, listening to hymns brings me joy. So what research has shown is if you don't have moments of joy throughout your day, you're going to end up depressed. So those residents, this is really like hitting hard, you know, like at calling some independent living residents and just talking to them. Most of them you probably know, but those ones that you don't know. So what were some of your hobbies? Oh, what? Well, what did you enjoy when you were like in your 30s? Did you ever garden? Did you do this? You know, and really exploring who and what makes them who they are, okay? Because then if you can incorporate just a little bit of moments of joy, okay, throughout their day. If it's an independent living resident, can it be a housekeeper or landscaper that drops off something for them once a week, okay? So it's really gathering every team member that you can to bring in those moments of joy for your residents. It's hard some days. And some days I know I miss 8 of them. And I'm like, oh, but tomorrow I'm going to get to 5. You know, let that be your goal, that you touch at least a few in independent living throughout the week. And it can be really scary because you're like, oh my God, they're living out there by themselves? That's what I said. When a few of them were like going off about the COVID, I was like, I didn't know you were this bad because we just talked about this on the phone and now you're calling me back. That's your main identifier of who's freaking out, who's an extrovert, and who needs some extra love and attention. You know, can you do a virtual dance hour, okay, where you're putting on some 50s music, sending a note to independent living residents and telling them to dress up in some 50s gear, and then getting on the Zoom call and having a little dance party, okay? Whoever's hosting that Zoom call, can you put some lights on in the back, you know? Dress yourself up a little bit and have fun with it. There's all different types of options when you really like stop and think outside the box just a little far. You're like, oh yeah, we could try this. And you never know. You know, you don't know what's going to work until you really just try it. And if you fail, oh well, you've learned what you can't do, you know, and then move on to that next idea. But there's a lot of little options, you know, for independent living using technology, you know, really honing in on like, can your CEO send some messages, or one of the marketing ladies send out a message that this night we're going to have cocktails at this hour and we have some music going, and everybody enters in this Zoom call with their cocktails at home and they're listening to the music on the Zoom. And then one of the things that I found was a challenge was helping residents get on Zoom. So I created like a step by step, like number one, go to zoom.com. Number two, you know, I mean, it really had to be, and hopefully you can just send out like the invitation where it says join Zoom call here. What I did is, like, beside where it says join Zoom call, I inserted a big red arrow that pointed here, and then beside it I said click here to join Zoom. So then when they click there, they're there, like they're at the party at 5 p.m. or whatever the case is. But making it really simple for them, okay? There's not much more that we can do for memory care, health center, assisted living. Coloring sheets, sitting down 101 with them. One of the things that I talked to my staff about here was like, okay, how can I engage staff to want to spend a little more time with the residents, okay? So I created a sheet that said, give me one fact about a resident, or one, I think I said one good fact or good characteristic of the resident that we didn't know before. So spend 5 minutes with them, talk to them a little bit, and then at the nurse's station or main area, fill in what you learned about the person. And at the end of the week, one person will win a $20 gift card, or at the end of the month, whatever y'all want to do. But that's engaging the staff to want to go ahead and spend some extra time with the resident, okay? Maybe right now, you know, implement like a STAR program where if you notice or you see a staff member that is engaging with a resident that maybe doesn't necessarily have to, then you give them a star for that, you know, for engaging the person. You're trying, I know, really hard to get to all of your residents in a day, and it's difficult because it can't just be one person. It has to be a team of this. So, you know, maybe it's a conversation that needs to be had. Hey, can we have one extra aide twice a week where we do some engagement with independent living? Okay. And I don't know what your residents there, most of the older folks enjoy the same things, you know, they kind of want to sit around and talk. So if you do these little meetings of 6 men or 6 women or 6 couples, maybe you have a couples happy hour, where those extroverts can get on a Zoom call and have fun with it, you know, and think of different games that you can play when you're on the Zoom call, or have like little pointers of things to talk about when you're there, because then sometimes it gets quiet and silent and awkward. So be ready for that. That's what I learned in my first few. I'll have like a little cheat sheet beside me of things to talk about, questions to ask. But I really want to emphasize going on birdsongtablet.com. There's old movies, there's games, there's all different types of like learning programs. Maybe you have a virtual learn about this country, and there's going to be one resident that traveled there and loved it. Let them be a speaker, you know, be like, hey, can you give a 10-minute talk on what you learned when you were in this country, or what happened when you were there? And let them be the guest speaker, and that's like really giving them something, you know, like you're like, oh yeah, this is what they really wanted, because they want some of that spotlight. They need some of that attention that they aren't getting, and they're an extrovert and they need attention, and that's just what it is. You're not going to change them now. So anyway, I hope this helps you. I feel like I've given you some stuff, and I want to be able to help you implement that, but I can't really be there. But please send me questions or other ideas. I need ideas. All of us need ideas, I think. And everybody in long-term care are really struggling with this, you know. There was a thing like hallway bingo, okay? So, you know, there's going to be like one person calling the number. There's going to be residents on the hallway, maybe in their doorways, and then maybe have one staff member helping. You know, most of the residents are going to say, be what? B, what did you say? And so if you have that other staff member walking past saying B6, B6, and then helping those find the numbers on the cards, and that could be like a simple, easy thing. Maybe I talked to our staff about having like a staff parade. You may have already been doing all this stuff. But having not just a parade outside, but a parade inside, like memory care, where you dress funky and crazy and you have some really upbeat music going, maybe some signs that say, I love you, we care about you, and you're just going through the hallways doing that, okay? One of the things that I got some of our memory care ladies to do was help me make some sundaes to pass out. I put gloves on them. One lady was in charge of the chocolate syrup. And I turned around and looked, and she had it, and she was like drinking it. And I was like, you know what? You didn't put your mouth on it. That's awful. But you know what? Chocolate brings us joy. So maybe, I even had, at the beginning of this, we put like little kisses in our residence boxes with little notes that had like encouraging notes on them that we cared about them, and you're beautiful, and you're smart, you're courageous, different things like that. And that just little touch is so much, And even if you had a few people from memory care, I remember some of the people were really good at painting. What if they painted a couple pictures, sent them to people in independent living, and then that person becomes like their pen pal, okay? Where they go back and forth, send pictures, sends paintings, sends little sweet notes. I just Google different coloring sheets for elderly, because the ones for young people are like teeny tiny little lines that they can't see. And some of them, depending on the person's religious beliefs, are religious, and that like encouraging Bible verses, encouraging little notes that are attached to the coloring sheets are really essential right now. That little bit of encouragement goes a long way. Maybe I know some places have done a phone tree, that's what it is, a phone tree for independent living residents. Calling them and checking on them, but just taking it a step further, staying on the phone for a few minutes longer to tell them what you've been doing. A lot of times we want to get in and we want to listen and then rush off. Well, they just need a little bit more conversation, a little bit more stimulation. So how can you provide that in independent living? Maybe it's somebody in the kitchen calling, maybe it's 2 nurses, maybe it's somebody in marketing that's all calling in and checking on these people and saying, hey, I was thinking about having a virtual bingo game. Would you be interested in that? I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'm going to try. And that's how you're really going to identify who's interested and who's not. One of the things I do is I talk people into it. I'm like, hey, please, will you try? You're like the one that'll give me honest, good feedback after this. And they're like, okay. But then once they're there in that setting doing it, they're having a great time, they're laughing, they're carrying on with people. And so really thinking like way outside, how can we do this virtually? How can we do some fun games, seek and find, or whatever you want to do. Trivia games are always good, and on birdsongtablet.com are all types of trivia games. Animal trivia, all different types of things. Even on the Birdsong tablet, there's funny videos. Like you know how we are. We can look at like funny animal videos, and that's just funny to us. Can you stream that on your TV channel? Once you start laughing, you've hit it. Your brain is there now. If you're really stressed out and you start laughing at something, think about that next time you start laughing at something when you feel down. You're tricking the brain into being happy. They say that if you're really upset and you smile long enough, you'll trick the brain into thinking that you're happy. We just need to go walk around and smile. But really thinking like, how can I impact this person? What can we do? And maybe keep a spreadsheet for independent living on what you're doing for each. Who needs a little additional help? Maybe it's in a shared drive. So your marketing director, your marketing people can help you identify different things that they knew about the person, earlier on when they first met them. So there's all different types of stuff, but I really want to emphasize trying to get on birdsongtablet.com. looking at all those virtual tours, they're amazing. There's a virtual tour of the moon, Disneyland. I mean, who's not happy when they see children that are ecstatic about Disneyland? So really just kind of honing in on what they need and then exploring it, and don't feel bad when you fail, or if you fail, you may not. They just want some attention. So anything you're going to give them at this point will help them. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, I'm really appreciative that you took the time to watch this, and I hope this is going to help you. Please email me any feedback, negative, positive. I want all of it, and let me know what you think. And I'm still thinking about you all. So if I come up with any other ideas, I'm gonna message Luann or Holly and let you know what I'm coming up with. But these are just a few, So I hope this helps, and let me know how I can help you further. You all take care, stay well, and God bless.